Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're doing fine wherever you are. I'm also okay. There are people who have created a tendency of taking everything that Raila Odinga says at face value, run with it, then get disappointed later. I remember when Raila Odinga came from AUC after the flop of his candidature, there are people within ODM who publicly went about saying that Raila Odinga was now free to vie for 2027 election, that he would now return back home and focus on how to make William Ruto a one-term president. And this was popularized to the point that the likes of Rigathi Gachagua saw it as an opportunity to convince Raila Odinga to vie. To quote him, he promised that the Mount Kenya people were going to vote for Raila Odinga come 2027 if he was willing to work with them. And there are people who believed this to be true. I created a video, ladies and gentlemen, against the grain, against what analysts were saying, that Raila Odinga had already decided to work with William Ruto as early as 2023 March. Yes, that was when they had agreed to work together. Raila Odinga has no interest in vying for president. Now, when I said that, it was not popular. But then there is this rule. What is popular is not always right. And what is right must not always be popular. What we do here is share with you raw politics based on evidence and backed with history. Raila Odinga, if he was in the race for the presidency, he will not side with Ruto till 2027. I can tell you that. I can't tell you that. But then you will be like, then why is he giving contradicting statements? How comes when Sifuna says that ODM will have their own candidate come 2027, then Raila Odinga makes a statement that looks like it is confirming what Sifuna was saying? There are those who even argue that Sifuna, the likes of Orengo, the likes of Babu Owino, Caleb Amisi, these are the people who are reflecting and saying the truth about Raila Odinga's intention, that in one way or the other, he was not interested in helping Ruto get re-elected. But I always tell you, it is not what people say that matters. It is what they do that matters. After all these sentiments, after the belief that Raila would come from AUC and pursue another presidential candidature, what happened? All we saw is Raila moving across the country saying that he was consulting, which I also did a video and told you there was no consultation he was doing, that it already had been decided. They had sat down and had agreed that they will work together into 2027. Then come 2032, it will be the turn of William Ruto to ensure that whoever Raila Odinga nominates is supported to take over as the president, mostly from Western. And by Western, I mean Western Province, former Western Province and former Nyanza Province. That is where the agreement is, that they support Ruto for re-election. Then William Ruto will use his political prowess and might, also as the incumbent, to help whoever they will project to win 2032. And that ODM and UDA are going to form a coalition moving into 2027. That is not popular because there are people who still listen to what Sifuna says, and then they come and do analysis and say big blow to Ruto as Raila says this and that. So anyway, recently, while holding an ODM PG in Machakos, Raila Odinga talked about so many things. In fact, he talked about how to grow Kenya. He talked about why they came together. He explained the importance of the broad-based government. He blasted those who opposed the Adani deal and gave examples of things that have been done through PPP. But the media, as usual, as expected, ignored everything that he said and picked when he said that ODM is a party with organs, and people are only supposed to communicate what they have agreed to. That you don't have to communicate what ODM has not resolved through its organs. And on what basis was Raila saying this, you may be wondering. Well, the likes of Joho and Mbadi, just to list a few, have been categorical that they are supporting William Ruto into 2027, after which they have their own ambitions as ODM party that will be supported by William Ruto come 2032. So they were declaring that there is a deal that ODM will be supporting the re-election of William Ruto. And so Raila was saying this particular announcement should be made casually. It should be made after a resolution of the party. And it only makes sense because there are people within that party, like I told you, who wants Raila Odinga to vie so that they can hang on his coat to get re-elected. There are leaders, especially from Luo Nyanza, I won't name names, who will have a very difficult time to get re-elected because most of the time they get the support of the voters by claiming that they are going to help Raila Odinga at the top against the enemies of Luos. And so people vote for them even if they don't have a track record. They are always voted in to go and help Baba. Now, if Baba is not on the ballot, you can understand their dilemma. They have nothing to show. They have not worked. The usual program is you get elected, sing Raila Odinga from morning to evening, go back to the Raia, tell them how you've stood with Baba, get another chance. Now, if Raila Odinga is not going to vie, that complicates things for them. And you have to understand that that perhaps is most of ODM MPs. They need Raila Odinga on the ballot. Now, the likes of Joe and Mbadi do not need Raila Odinga on the ballot. What they need is William Ruto re-elected for purposes of continuing to serve and also to give them an opportunity to be supported come 2032 for whichever position they want. So then they are out there telling people the agreement between Raila Odinga and William Ruto. That is, they are going to work together into 2027 and Raila will endorse William Ruto. But Raila feels that there are people in the party who are getting really, really disturbed by this, considering that it has not been announced to them. So he was just telling these people that we don't need to say things that have not been passed. And this also went to the likes of Sifuna, because there are people who just pick one side. That Raila said that you don't need to announce what we've not resolved. We have not said that we are going to support Ruto come 2027. We're just saying we are working with him into 2027. That is what they pick. They don't pick the other side, where Sifuna says that in my capacity as the Secretary General of the party, I am telling you it is the policy of ODM that Raila Odinga will not support William Ruto, that we want William Ruto to be a one-term president. So Raila Odinga and the party has not sat down and come up with such a resolution. Never. In fact, when Sifuna thought that he was speaking for the party, he saw for himself the party having a PG without him. Yeah, he's the Secretary General of the party, yet the party was having a PG without Sifuna. And they didn't even care. They didn't care whether he was attending or he didn't attend. It doesn't matter to them anymore. So this message was to both camps, those who are already saying what is happening and those who are resisting what is bound to happen. It's not a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. It can't be that every time Raila Odinga makes a statement, we come up with analysis of big blow to William Ruto. This is just a short-term excitement because eventually you are going to see Raila Odinga and William Ruto working together. But then let's say Raila Odinga was to vie for president. Let's say ODM is going to field a presidential candidate come 2027. If they are to do so, we are approaching 2026. That gives you 1 year to organize yourself for serious campaign. Now, Raila Odinga, on the other hand, says they are supporting Ruto's government till 2027. That he has said not once, not twice, repeatedly in different forums. He has told these people that his people, the supporters of ODM, whether they are in Coast, whether they're in Wajir, whether in Nairobi, everywhere, he has told them that it is the decision of ODM party to work with Ruto till 2027. So ask yourself, if that is the case, if ODM is working with William Ruto till 2027, what time in this 2027 do they stop, organize themselves as an opposition, and vie against Ruto? Like I told you, anytime you listen to political analysis, ask yourself, does it make sense? That is the rule. Go with the rule. Does it make sense? If it doesn't make sense, even if it sounds popular, even if it is consoling, discard it. If Raila Odinga and the ODM party is going to have a candidate come 2027, I want to tell you there is no way under the sun they can be working with William Ruto today in 2025 September. No. They would be organizing themselves as an opposition, either working with the likes of Rigathi or standing alone as an opposition to go and talk to the people and tell them why William Ruto should not be re-elected. But it can't be, ladies and gentlemen, that Raila Odinga is working with William Ruto and has pledged to work with him till 2027. Then at the tail end of 2027, Raila Odinga somehow withdraws from supporting William Ruto and starts saying, you know, William Ruto is the worst person possible and we want to replace him. Those only happen in Nigerian movies. It doesn't work in real life. In real life, Raila Odinga is going to support William Ruto. And people already know that. I don't know why at times we want to run away from the reality, or perhaps it is a painful reality. But I just wanted to tell you that, ladies and gentlemen, there is no need of worrying every time Raila Odinga makes a statement or believing that Raila Odinga has changed or is playing Ruto or coming up with narratives. He only talked to his party members that there needs to be formal communication. There needs to be organized channel of communication. A party that thrives cannot have divergent people giving divergent views. All the views should come from a resolution of the party. And I don't see anything wrong with Raila Odinga saying that. If you picked that to mean that Raila will be vying, I am sorry for you. He won't be vying. Ladies and gentlemen, one of you had watched the analysis on the news and was like, can you say something about this? And that is all I wanted to tell you, that there is no cause for alarm for supporters of William Ruto, supporters of Raila Odinga. These people are still going to work together into 2027. And I don't see any reason why they shouldn't work together. And if that was not to be the case, Raila Odinga would have withdrawn by now and would not be supporting the policies of this government. Because you can't, like I said, you can't support the policies of the government till 2027, then withdraw from that government and start being opposition. It doesn't work like that. Nobody is going to take you seriously, but also there is no enough time for you to actually mount a serious campaign against a political maestro like William Ruto. I hope I answered this question in the clearest way possible. If you found value in this video, let me know in the comment section. Let us engage. And if you are watching this channel for the first time or you are a frequent viewer but yet to subscribe, please take a second, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends. Otherwise, if you want to know more about Raila Odinga's political options moving into 2027, watch this video.